night that I ended up in Lesbos, there's no one around, and it was like a barren seaside sort of a place. It was dark, and it's sort of dark sea. It was quite windy, and someone said, look, don't go down there tonight because the weather's too bad. But I was only there about 20 minutes, and the first boat that I ever seen came in. We were on the beach, and I could see this light flashing, and the sea was really bad. It rose up, and you could hear the sound. When it rose up, you could hear the sound, and then it dipped down. The cries of these people it was horrible. Babies screaming and all the rest, and the women were screaming. I'll never forget that sound, as long as I live. So we kind of formed a human chain, and I was standing there and I was pulling people. Some people were trying to grab their own bags, and there was this one guy, and he kept trailing this bag. I was going, leave that bag, just come on. So he managed to grab the bag about the third time, and he trailed it and he gripped it up into his chest, you know, and it was a wee baby. And it wasn't a bag. It was a wee baby, and the baby was alive, thank God. At that moment, I realised, like, you know, these guys are risking everything for a better life, you know? So take it easy on these guys. Like, they're been through a lot, you know. That was my first boat. That sort of woke me up. Show these people compassion, you know, because they've been through so much, you know.
Belfast, how I know you so well. You're like heaven. You're like hell.
In the winter of 2015, the musician Joby Fox is deeply moved by media images of the refugee and migrant crisis unfolding in the Mediterranean.
I'll be with you.
Eat the leg of a scabby donkey, I would.
Unable to shake off the images of suffering, Joby feels compelled to offer what help he can. He leaves his wife and young son at home and flies to the Greek island of Lesbos.
The real shocking thing is that the EU is such a big entity in the world, and yet they can't seem to apply themselves to this situation. I mean, there's me and there's others, as I say, who are quite happy to do that because we're saving lives. But where is the EU? Where is the UN? Where are all these agencies that are there with millions getting pumped into them to do this very thing? Once you're exposed to something like that, you feel a responsibility to these human beings, and ultimately that's what it is. That's what the responsibility is. I'm a human being, they're human beings, they need me. I know what it feels like for a parent to lose a child. I lost my daughter to cancer. And when I watched, and I seen, you know, children dying and drowning in the sea. Children never asked for this, you know, so that's my motivation. Simple.
Joby feels he has to do more than just be a short-term volunteer.
But I talked to a lot of people. They said, why are we starting on the beaches here? Why are we not out there where the crisis actually is, which is out in the sea when there's people drowning in the sea? I've seen what I've seen and know what I know. And I took this initiative to campaign for a boat.
Okay, we're here at Scala, which is on a 10-kilometre stretch of beach here, which is facing out onto Turkey. This is a calm boat, believe it or not.
I saw on Facebook that he went to Greece. I texted him actually, and he phoned me up and said, I hadn't spoken to him about 10 years, and he said, you're coming, basically.
Jude Bennett, an art curator, is a former colleague of Joby. He may have the vision, but he knows he needs someone like Jude with project management experience.
I'm in solidarity.
When I went out there at first, I just thought I was going out to volunteer for 2 weeks, but then when we saw it was saying that I could help, just putting your arm out and literally helping somebody out of the water. People are drowning just meters off the shore, and that just seems like that just should not be happening. So literally us sort of going in, swimming out to the boat and guiding them in and helping them off. As simple as that was saving lives. I just had to stay and do something. So I, like a lot of people, you know, extended my stay. I sort of said to work, not coming back for a while.
Desperate to save lives, Joby works hard to publicise the charity.
What an incredible thing that you're doing, Joby. I want to spend more time on air so that people realise what you're doing, because it's just incredible and it's selfless.
That's superb.
Jude's contacts in the arts world pay off unexpectedly quickly, with an offer of help from a famous artist who wants to remain anonymous.
He said, well, what is it you're working on now? And I said, well, we're working on getting a boat and a skilled crew for a rescue team. And he said, well, maybe that's something I can help you with now. So I just got off the phone there. I got a phone.
What am I going to do now? Does anybody know how to drive a boat? The whole project was just took a whole leap forward.
Oh God,
We're all doomed.
it's all right. It's got a stripy top and a hat.
But never in their imagination they would think that we would have someone just give us £35,000 off the bat. Jesus, that's great. That is just such great work, Jude. It's amazing. It really is absolutely incredible.
It was really quick. We got the offer of the boat and got the boat out there within 2 weeks.
But getting the boat is only the first step.
It was like starting a business or something and trying to get volunteers. We need crew that were skilled search and rescue on the boat.
And now on to the thorny issue of insurance.
Well, you can ask us calling.
Yes, it's Joby Fox from Refugee Rescue.
Right, one moment. Good morning. How may I help you today?
We have a rib which will be involved in rescue.
Not something that we've ever been involved with before.
That's no problem. Thanks a lot. 2 months ago, I certainly didn't see myself doing this. I'm just getting deeper and deeper and deeper into it. The bureaucracy, and this is where you have to grit your teeth and just get on with things and remember what it is you're trying to do. Would you be able to advise me as to who would do such? I mean, it's European. Insurance companies, knobs. They're so hard to deal with. Great stuff.
It takes days of phone bashing, but Joby finally gets insurance.
See what we can do for you.
All right, thanks a lot, man. I hope to speak to you soon.
Good to talk to you.
Take it easy. Bye now.
Cheers.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye-bye.
In just a matter of weeks, they're operational. They name their boat Mo Cara, my friend.
Such an incredible feeling. It's the moment of truth, as they say.
Two lifeguards from Devon, Richie Hurd and Ben Jarvis, are joined by Rathlin Island ferry skipper Michael Cecil. Mo Cara has her first volunteer crew.
We're on the emergency frequency and we're available for any eventuality.
Now, as an independent new rescue initiative, we're up there beside all the other rescue teams from around the world who have obviously existed.
Someone's back in. Someone's happy.
We're, from an organisation point of view, having to work doubly hard to establish ourselves as a professional rescue team.
You gonna give me a roll with this?
Man.
Right. You serious?
It's very easy on the steering.
Right.
Because it'll throw people.
You just put it forward, yeah?
Yeah. All you have now is a steering wheel and an accelerator.
Okay.
Main priority. Watch where you're going.
Lads, God, that's brilliant. Thanks, Michael.
Congratulations,
Thanks,
skipper.
Thanks, man. Wow.
The refugees' journey into the European Union may be just a few miles, but this has become one of the deadliest stretches of water in the world. And the pressure is on Jude and Joby to keep the funds coming.
We can't sustain past the end of this month, which is 2 weeks away, with the funds that we have. Main cost is the fuel, being €60 an hour.
Moving to the bow.
The idea of the boat being there and not being able to be out is absolutely heartbreaking. Just for me, it's just not an option. So we have to raise the money.
Do you want to do a quick man overboard?
Surprise me.
Man overboard.
At night time, unfortunately, the refugee boats will head for the lighthouse because it's the only light they can see on the coast. It's the worst place they can go to. If you look around, the landscape it's very, very similar to what we find out in Greece and the Greek islands. Distance here is very similar to Lesbos to Turkey. It's about 6.5 miles from harbour to harbour, and it's probably what inspired me to go in the first place. This morning we had 71 people on board this boat, and you know it's quite a large two-storey ferry. But out in Greece we'll have the same numbers on a very small 30-foot rubber boat with a rubber floor. So you can imagine packing all these people into such a small space. 60 people in the water would be a major, major emergency in the UK. You know, every helicopter that was available would be sent to it, all the lifeboats would be sent to it, and it would be headline news all around the world for days and days. But it's just a daily occurrence in Greece. It's quite intense, quite dramatic. You're trying to keep everybody safe. Your adrenaline's quite high yourself, and everything happens very, very quickly. So it's always trying to tell yourself to keep calm and to keep everything else calm, keep everybody around you calm. It's inherently dangerous to go to sea in a rubber boat. If nobody knows you're going and you don't have any equipment, it's very, very easy for something to go wrong. And it can happen within 100 yards of a shoreline, which is why we're here.
We're gonna go alongside.
There can be elderly people or children or injured people that end up in the water. There's young kids that are hungry and cold. It becomes, a living hell on those boats, on those rubber boats.
Mo Cara searches the coast for refugees dumped in the sea by traffickers overnight and left to swim to shore. They come across an entire family on isolated rocks.
We got in close. Richie swam ashore to see what condition they were in. Richie communicated with them as best he could.
Do you speak English? Okay.
They were quite shaken up from their experience. They'd been dropped in the sea and had made their own way ashore and were trying to get dry and warm.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's always tricky. Things can always go wrong. People can slip and get hurt or get injured.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. Go, go, go. Whoopsie. 3. I got it. Okay. You have it.
It's hard to imagine how traumatic and how bad things must have been for a father or a mother to put their children in a boat and take them across.
It's okay. You're gonna be fine.
It shows that there must be something driving them forward, making them do that. You know, things must be so bad where they are that they really have to. They have no choice. They have to get out of it.
My pleasure. My pleasure. This is what they call the life jacket cemetery, and it's just a big pile of life jackets. Nothing else. Hundreds of thousands of them. Each one of these represents a person, doesn't it, really? That's a new one. When I saw that, I thought maybe that was a real one, but it's not, is it?
Nope.
It's the same parcel packaging as all the rest, eh? I honestly don't think you would find a real one here.
On Lesbos, the number of refugees and migrants are growing. Very few are being allowed to travel on. Many fear they'll be deported out of the EU and back to Turkey.
When I first came here, just as an ordinary volunteer, it was easy, it was simple. But, you know, since those days, it's moved on to almost like a more sort of a corporate level.
EU pressure is now forcing Turkey to shut down the smuggling routes. Joby's team aren't having an easy ride with the Greek Coast Guard, a military force whose primary role is border security rather than life-saving.
Ultimately, that's risking lives, this kind of power struggle, which we don't really care about. So yeah, we're at a stage where we're very frustrated.
It's always a possibility that the Greek authorities or maybe European authorities are trying to make this crossing a little bit more difficult, a little bit more dangerous, in the hope that it puts people off attempting in the first place. If there's no welcome here, if there's no rescue resources here, then people might be reluctant to cross.
Once you open the door, it's the Pandora's box, really. Now I can see the raw, naked side of Fortress Europe.
I'm on the phone to like Human Rights Watch, different lawyers asking about what is going on here, trying to understand, what is breaking the law, and to try and protect the crew, but also trying to protect the refugees.
Most are prisoners in a detention centre. Others are in unofficial satellite camps. This one is threatened with closure.
This is Ireland and Pakistan International, is it? These people, they're no different from us. How would you like it? You know, having to leave your home and your family and everything else. What can people not understand about that? It's so fucking easy just to flick off the TV and shut the door and forget about it all. I'm not here to do politics, if you know what I mean. So trying to help fellow human beings, get them into safe ground, get them dressed, get them dried, get them looked after, and then they can fucking politic all they want after that, you know, as long as the people are safe. The sea, like, it can be so beautiful. At the same time, it can be so violent at the same time. Much like human beings. Much like human beings.
Hellenic Coast Guard, this is Mokara. We have found a body. Hellenic Coast Guard, this is Mokara. We have found a body.
When we were alerted, there was bodies in the water. They were probably in the water for about 12 hours.
Hellenic Coast Guard, this is Mokara. We have a body. Over.
The crew arrives too late. 15 refugees drowned in this incident. Just 2 were saved.
If we were allowed out on exercise and being in the area quite freely, then we most likely would have come across them earlier.
Yeah, contact.
For the Coast Guard, they actually said, we promise we will get in contact with you if something big happens, you know. No, they won't. They didn't. What does it take for the Coast Guard to actually contact us?
The pressure is taking an emotional and a physical toll on everyone.
You know, it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of energy to keep the whole thing going. It sort of wears you out sometimes. The pressure's been immense. It's affected my health. And the same with Jude. She's been challenged.
I thought I was sort of dealing with it okay, but being on the ground, it totally drained me to the point where I actually collapsed. Because you sort of don't think, well, I'm not in trauma because these people are the ones in trauma, but you're seeing stuff that people are going through that they really shouldn't have to be going through. And then it became the norm, like the boats coming in and, you know, helping people, you know, I'm going out having a coffee or something, and then boats are coming in, I'm running in my jeans and helping babies out and bringing them into the camp, and that became the norm, and like, yeah, that's not normal.
The threatened camp closure goes ahead. Deportations are starting. The main detention centre, built for hundreds but holding thousands, is at breaking point.
The divide over the migration crisis is deepening within the EU.
Thousands of refugees are arriving as we speak. They are making their way.
Estimated more than 60,000 asylum seekers remain stranded in Greek camps.
The frustration comes from seeing what happens on the ground, what is actually happening in reality, and then what people are being told on the news. There's just so many horrible things being done. People forget real quick, you know, how bad it's been for these people. It's fucking awful for these people. Christianity, goodwill, whatever you want to call it. Where the fuck is it? Where the fuck is that?
At least 50 people have been arrested after violence erupted at a migrant camp.
On top of all of this, the Coast Guard demands 24 hours notice before Mokara goes to sea.
We're here to do a job, and it's extremely frustrating. We've explained at length to them we're only here to help.
We've reached a point now where we're pushing back now because compliance hasn't worked. Trying to communicate hasn't worked.
We've fought off an absolute bureaucratic assault on our organisation, here, there and everywhere, and they've tried to curtail us as much as they possibly could and try and control us, and we've fought them tooth and nail. People like me had to come along and serve up to these people, these big, world, overbloated humanitarian organisations, so-called humanitarian organisations. They do great work, so you can't criticise them when they get it wrong. Well, they got it fucking wrong here, and people need to fucking know about that. They got it spectacularly wrong, and the price that was paid were fucking lives out on that sea.
Nighttime crossings are increasing, and it's more dangerous than ever. The death rate is now double what it was in 2015 and 2016.
People migrating is as old as time. People are so desperate, they're going to keep coming, and they're going to keep coming by sea. So whether we're in Lesbos or if we're out in the Mediterranean, I feel like that's why I want to stabilise the organisation now, because it's bigger than us.
We keep coming back, as do all the volunteers. That gets into your psyche. You go home and basically wait for the next opportunity that you have to get back out here again.
Something moved in me. I don't know, people may call it God, people, whatever they call it. I know that something moved in me, and it brought me to this spot. But if I'm on my deathbed, this will be something that I'll give myself a wee pat in the back for. I'll have a wee wry smile.
I think it's nice to be on the right side of history. It's something I'm probably privileged to have gone through.
In the beginning, it was haphazard, to say the least, but we did the job, you know, saved lives, like, so I'm proud of that too.
You need people like me, frankly, come along, and like Jude and Michael and the rest of us, and say, fuck that. No, we're not having it.